Hey Brainiacs, how you guys doing today? Thank you for tuning in to my humble opinion. I am at Cam's Brain, and I appreciate you guys following along with me. Today we are talking about a very important topic. As always, we have been doing the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, and today we're talking about the sixth law of power. The sixth law of power being court attention at all costs. What does this mean to you? As I always say, the 48 Laws of Power, some people really don't like the concept of this book because typically it's used in a form of manipulation. I think that that's okay. I think sometimes you have to be aware that you can be manipulated and be aware of how people will manipulate you. And then you also have to realize how you can use it in a positive way. So the concept of court attention at all costs technically means you should be outrageous or create an aura of mystery to get attention, as any attention is better than being ignored. You should never let yourself get lost in a crowd or buried in oblivion, and should stand out and be conspicuous at all costs. So basically, is basically saying you should be looking for clout, or you should be seeking attention as much as possible. A lot of entertainers use this as a form of getting their name out. I know of some musicians that have, things that they do in order for people to, really know who they are or remember who they are. I remember back in the day when the baby came out, he used to wear a diaper, right? Or like Michael Jackson and his white socks, or T-Pain and his big hat. Like courting attention at all costs is like, in a way, again, like they said, creating a spectacle. What do you guys think? Do you think it's important to court attention? Do you think it's important to be flashy, to put yourself out there in the world in order to gain attention? I think it's important based on what type of lifestyle you're living, what type of business you have, what type of entertainer you are, or whatever it is you want to do in life. I think it's important. Sometimes it's good to move low key. Some people would definitely rather be the person writing LeBron James check instead of being LeBron James. And then at the same time, you can be LeBron James, and I'm sure he's able to do this at this point in his life. But you can also write your own checks. I'm sure right now that's where he is in life. But I think that there's a very vast comparison as it relates to that when you really dive into the duality of what that means for most people. Some people do a lot of things because they want to seek attention. I think if I'm looking at this parable of court attention at all costs, it depends on what type of situation you're looking to do. I always kind of lead things into a spiritual and a business aspect when I have these conversations. Or do you want to give a lot of people attention of who you are? Sometimes attention can cause problems. I like to move low key. Therefore, I don't have too many things to worry about. Some people may not, want to move low key. You have some people that, they'll go in the middle of the street and start, reading the Bible, or they'll start shouting and letting you know that you need to be saved, so on and so forth. So I think it's a very interesting situation to see, where you find yourself as an individual as it relates to that type of stuff. In business, sometimes you have to be very loud in order to get yourself out there. You have to use certain tactics to let people know that you are the best at what it is you're trying to sell. I'm a very loud individual in some things. Sometimes I can be loud in how I dress. I can be very loud in business because I'm a very aggressive person in business. So if I do something, I'm always going to be the one that's going to say I'm the best at it. Um, I think there's sort of a cockiness to that, but there's also a confidence to it. And there's also an idea of understanding that I have to have attention coming towards me. Sometimes you can create the right type of attention where people want to at least ask questions. So I'm the type of person that will try to agitate a sentence, or try to seek the interest of the allow people's minds to want to seek interest in what I do based on some of the things that I say. When I do businesses, I always say the best ever or the official. Certain words kind of strike people as official. Even using the word official is really a good thing to do if you have confidence in the product that you're selling. For me, I really don't like doing too much of anything unless I can give it my all. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but what I am saying is I'm doing the best that I can. So if I'm doing the best that I can, I'm gonna talk myself up. I'm gonna make it where somebody feels like they have to get my product. So courting attention at all costs in business for me is extremely important, because I'm gonna talk about what I do. I'm gonna let you know that my product is gonna be better than anybody else's product out there, no matter what I'm selling. Now, as an individual, being flashy and things like that, I think it's all within reason, within, what you're doing. I think I had a podcast maybe about episode, maybe my first or second episode, when it was talking about should you be judged based on what you wear, and how a lot of times people are basically judged based on their appearance, and if that is fair. I think sometimes, depending on the environment that you're in, you should be judged. I think, if you put yourself in a position where you are not doing things accordingly, or you're too loud and it's not appropriate. So yeah, I think you have to consider the fact that everything has to be done in moderation. Everything has to be done where you understand what is appropriate and what's inappropriate. But yeah, I want you guys to think about this very, very closely. Is it important to court attention at all costs? Do you care about attention? Do you feel like it's necessary for what you have going on in your life? Or do you feel like it's necessary for what you have going on in your business? I know for me, one instance that I had where I had to court attention was when I first started out in promoting parties and things like that. I was a small name. So because I was a small name, I had to figure out how I can gain traction very quickly in order to make the type of money that I seen other promoters make. So a lot of times what I would do, I would get real money. I would go to the bank and I would pull out like $1,000 in ones, and I bought a stamp. Now that stamp had my phone number, it had my website, it had the club that I was doing the party at, basically all the information you needed to know to get to the party. And I would pass out those real dollar bills to everybody in the area. And that was their ticket to get into the club. And then they can also use that dollar to buy stuff because it was a real dollar when they got to the club. But that was a form of me being as flashy as I possibly could. And here's the thing, it was less money for me to pull out $1,000 in ones and do that than it would have been for me to actually create a whole bunch of flyers and pass those out. So I figured out how to court that attention at all costs, but honestly, it still was a little bit less for me strategically as it related to promoting my business. And what ended up happening was all the money that I spent giving out to other people came back to me because I used it as a ticket for them to get into the club. And then if they didn't even want to use it for that, they more than likely used it at the bar, so on and so forth. That ended up going from like a dollar bill to us passing out $20 bills. So at the end of the day, you just have to be very wise in why you're flashy, how you're flashy, and if it makes sense. For me, it has to make sense. If it don't make, I think there's a saying, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. To me, that made dollars, so it made sense to me. But I want you guys to leave how you feel about this down below in the description. Let me know if you should be flashy, if you shouldn't be flashy, if it should matter, if it shouldn't matter, if you should court attention, or if you shouldn't court attention. Let's have a conversation about this. Let's get involved. I want to make sure that y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I have been at Cam's Brain. I'll see you next time. Peace.